What's up, guys? It's Crash, and kind of a chill video for you guys today. I got the chance to play Season 5 a little bit over my lunch, and I wanted to talk about it, give my initial impressions and thoughts with it, but I think what matters more than my opinion is your guys' opinion. So I want to hear down in the comments below what you guys think of it. So I thought I would just kick the camera on and kind of go off the cuff and talk about some of the things that I experienced with Battlefield 2042 Season 5 and the new map. And I'm going to do my very best not to be overly negative. I know I've been very critical of the game. Just comes from my love of the Battlefield franchise, guys. I assure you that is the case. So let's talk a little bit about Season 5 and what we got going on with this game. I feel like 2042 is kind of hitting its stride a little bit for what it is and what their vision is. However, man, when I see this map, it really makes me think of all the missed potential, because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I really like this map so far. I think it's one of the first maps in the game where you could plot me into it, not telling me what the game is, and I would tell you that this game is Battlefield. That's what this map actually feels like. Finally, it could be a little bit of the nostalgia hit me from kind of the Zavod vibes that we've been talking about in the lead up to this map, but it just actually does feel like Battlefield. Along with it, I did notice some, I think this is kind of inherent whenever you have the base map, like the base terrain layer has rocks, then along with the snow as well. There's a little bit of a visibility issue, kind of with the high contrast of the base terrain. Sometimes it's hard to see folks. I kind of caught myself 3D ping spamming a little bit to try to see folks. But I just feel like that's kind of one of the side effects from having a little bit more of a diverse map. Did you guys, I just want to ask you guys, did you see any visibility issues with the new map? Because overall, I thought it was really nice. As I've said before, I felt like many of the Battlefield maps in 2042 are just kind of wide open areas with kind of a central POI, like the big ship on Stranded, or the big building on Spearhead, or the big ship on Manifest, like or the rocket on Orbital, or the rocket hangar. You have these big main POIs and then everything's open. This is the first one that kind of felt like you had some flow, like you had some ways to get out. There was some terrain, there was some trees. One of the first maps where we've actually had like trees. That's really cool. I mean, I guess there are some on Orbital, but it just felt like a more natural Battlefield map to me, and I really like that, because I think overall, with the map being the high point, in my opinion, I still think this game has a lot more potential. It had a lot more potential, and I feel like it's still, that map is getting held back a little bit by some of the flaws with Battlefield 2042. I want to talk about that just a little bit. I thought they put in the new cam system. I'm just going to go through some of the things that I experienced. The new cam system is a little bit floaty and weird when you're sprinting. Just so you guys know, you can go in the accessibility tab and turn that off, the camera shake during sprinting. You can change that if you launch it and it feels a little bit weird. So let me know how that goes for you guys. I did already run into issues with the squad system not being fully fleshed out. Like we mentioned, you can't lock it, you can't kick players, you can't make it a friend only squad. I was playing with USA Specialist and one of his friends, and every time we would get into it, and also with someone from my stream, when we would try to get into the game, my game crashed once, and then it instantly got filled up by a blueberry and I wasn't able to rejoin. Back in the day, you could lock that squad, I could get into it and rejoin, you know, make it friends only. I could rejoin whenever my game popped up. What I had to do was instead get in a queue. We had to form an entirely new squad, and you have to jump in it really quick before somebody else gets in there. So the squad system, we saw that coming just a little bit. I also felt like, and I really want to hear from you guys on this, I felt like the hit reg was a little weird. I'm going to put a gunfight up on the screen along with the hit reg event indicator that they have in game. And you guys can see by the end of this life, by the end of these few gunfights I had, it only registered on the server side 20 out of 29 bullets that hit. So 29 bullets hit on the client side. That means I got hit markers, it counted them on my client, and only 20 of those were actually counted by the server, where the enemy took damage on those instances. So 20 out of 29 bullets counting is not a very good percentage. I feel like the hit registration is still really rough in this game. And then I also want to hear from the PC players and console players how the input is feeling. In my opinion, I've been playing a lot of Rainbow Six, which on my machine is really high frame rates. When I come back to this Battlefield, it feels really spongy at first. I feel like a lot of input delay with the mouse, and that could just be the difference in frame rates. I'm not 100% sure. I think I kind of want to maybe rig up some kind of way to do a video. I think would be really cool. If I have a camera that shoots fairly high frame rates, if I can rig up a system to see the mouse see when it moves, see when the frames move, and maybe calculate some of that input latency, because it really does feel spongy, like it's there. After a few games, I kind of get used to it, and then I don't notice it as much. So maybe if you're someone who plays Battlefield 2042 almost exclusively, you might not even notice this, because by the end of my play session, I wasn't really noticing it very much. Some of the other things that were just a little bit questionable in my opinion was the Irish nerf. I don't think that necessarily needed to happen. They mentioned wanting to address grenade spam. They introduced some new grenades, but they also took their grenade hard counter and nerfed him. What was happening a lot with his sentinels was, especially if you play breakthrough on the new map, the last sector in the bunker gets absolutely crazy. And of course, when you're talking crazy in Battlefield, you're also talking about grenade spam. So there was a ton of grenade spam. And essentially what happens during that cooldown period, when someone throws more than one grenade, it basically essentially made Irish's Sentinel a one-off item. It would block one grenade. The next grenade is going to take it out. So essentially it felt like I was constantly replacing those and putting those down to try to hold the objective. And there was just tons and tons and tons and tons of grenades still with this game. But I guess technically it works both ways, and you can throw a lot of grenades if you want to. The big changes to guns, as you guys know, is the added spread to ARs, and I think I'm going to make a separate video about this after kind of more people get their hands on it. Please let me know down below what your opinions are on this. I've always been someone that I don't feel like random spread is a good way to balance things. I know people talk about burst firing and that's a skill that you learn, but I think a better skill that you can learn is when the gun goes up with the recoil or the spread, you have some kind of feedback on the screen where the bullets are actually going. I think random is a little bit annoying to try to deal with. If you have predictable recoil, that is, you can make it more severe, make it harder to control. You have to learn how to move your mouse or learn the stick to control it. And if you miss an enemy because of recoil, your target was off. You see, oh, I didn't hold my recoil down and to the left, I missed, you know, top right or whatever. I just hate it when the bullet decouples from the sight. I know that's a thing that's been in Battlefield for a really long time, and I know that's a thing that just I'm probably in the minority, and I look forward to your comments. But I think I'm probably going to make a separate video on spread and kind of lay out my thoughts just a little bit better than that. But I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't think it hurts the ARs too bad, but I did feel it on a few gunfights at distance with the ARs. And with the map kind of being the main focal point of the season, I kind of like to circle back to that and talk about how this map you can actually play Conquest on. Like, it feels pretty decent to play Conquest. The points are closer together. You have cover and routes to actually get there that kind of flow and make sense. So this is one of the only maps, in my opinion, that, you know, like I said, it's not wide open on the edges. Running from point to point isn't that bad on this map. Like, it feels like a traditional Battlefield. You take one objective and you can run on to the next one, and it doesn't take that long if you're an infantry player. So it feels pretty good from that aspect as well. And when you get to talking about the map and I start to feel like Battlefield when I play it, it's like, man, what I would do for like 10 more of these, you know? Because I feel like in a few months when they start talking about we don't know what we're going to get within season 6, I'm starting to feel like, man, if I could just have like 5 or 6 more maps like this, you know, like an old DLC pack with maps that are this quality, I would be down, man. I could overlook the visibility. I could overlook the hit reg. I would probably get used to kind of the mouse latency and stuff like that. The squad system, whatever, could get around that. It's just a few extra clicks. And if this was like a newer supported Battlefield with maps that were playing like this, that would be awesome. We just need more of them. Like I said, season 5 and season 6, it's great to have, but we're still singing the same song. One map per season. It just really isn't enough, and I need to come to terms with it, because I feel like, you know, economies with first person shooters, especially in the AAA space, it's more of a skin based economy, right? The battle pass, you know, skins and stuff you can buy in the store is where developers and studios make their money now. They don't have to put an entire map team and resources into making map packs for sale anymore. It seems to be, allegedly, in my opinion, it seems to be easier to make skins, and they make just as much money off of them. You can, you know, cite Call of Duty's earning calls over the last little bit to see that they've had less players and they made more money because they've kind of switched to the skin economy. They can turn them out a lot faster than they can maps. So I think less maps is just going to be how AAA gaming is going to be for at least the time being, until the next type of microtransaction comes up. So I need to kind of come to terms with that. But I'm just keeping in mind, season 5, season 6, that is great. One new map. If you think about it though, at this rate, they would have to get to like season like 20 something to get as like season 22 to get as many original maps as came with Battlefield Battlefield 1. So trickling out at this pace, I did the math on it, you would have to get to like season 22 to have the 29 original maps that came at the end of the Battlefield 1 life cycle. So trickle feeding maps this slow while supporting the game is great. It's not like super insane, like a massive amount of content. I feel like this is a great map. It's held back a little bit by the 2042 issues that we've talked about kind of since launch, but the game is really coming into its own. And I think my elevator pitch, if someone said, what do you think of Battlefield 2042, Crash? Well, I would probably say something like, if I'm keeping it short, I would say Battlefield 2042 is one of the better, if not the best, active AAA shooter right now. You have Call of Duty and Halo against it, essentially. So there's that. It's one of the best feeling AAA shooters going right now, but it still just doesn't quite have that Battlefield feel to me. I think too many things changed. I could just be an old head. That is the way it is. But that's kind of my overall unbiased, real initial impressions of the season. I really, really do like the map. It's just making it really apparent that there needs to be a lot more maps well thought out and put together for both core game modes like this one was. I really do like it. But I think after a few weeks even of playing this map and going back to some of the old ones with the wide open spaces, it's going to start to feel really old fairly quickly. But we'll have fun on it for the time being. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are. Some good, some bad. Let me know in the comments below. I definitely read all of them. If you made it to the end of this video to listen to this old man's opinion on Season 5 of Battlefield 2042, I cannot thank you enough. I sincerely, sincerely appreciate you. And I really hope to see you on another video soon. Thank you guys so much for watching.